First of all, thank you for inviting me to present and start out with just a little bit of information about Florida International University. We are located in Miami, Florida, and this is a view of downtown Miami, and it's from the Bay, and it's looking mainly at our financial districts. FIU is Miami's public research university. We have 2 campuses and several centers throughout Miami-Dade and Broward County. Pictured coming up is our Modesto Medique campus, which is our South campus. It's the largest campus, and it's named after our 4th president. And next is our beautiful Biscayne Bay campus, which is located on the bay in North Miami. And you're looking at a view there of our School of Hospitality Management. You may know our school. We started the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, and it supports both experience for our students as well as scholarship funding. Some little fun facts. And I was asked to share with you how we approach the challenge of delivering software application workshops to our students. This is our library. FIU's 5th president took office in 2009, and he changed the focus of the university from one of overall growth to student support and success. With this new focus, we had a goal to expand our software applications training from just faculty and staff and begin offering sessions for students. But how could we manage increasing our training when we had such a limited team and such a small space? So we set up a goal, and our goal was to expand this training to our students, and then we had to tackle how we were going to make that possible. This is a great picture of a traditional lecture hall, and we do not have a training center nearly this large. We do have 24-seat training center available to our students, and when this initiative came about, we had 46,000 students, and at that time only 3 trainers. We have been growing, and I'll share those numbers with you a little later. So the challenge that we were facing, giving our small team and our small set of resources, was how are we going to support 46,000 students, continue to support our faculty and staff on our multiple campuses with the 4 trainers we had at that time. So we saw this actually as an opportunity and not just a challenge. This opportunity was going to allow us to hire 2 additional trainers, which is what we were recommending, 1 for each of our 2 main campuses. And they would be focused specifically on marketing to students and doing the face-to-face workshops for the students. So how did we go about implementing this? In 2009, Florida had allowed public universities to charge a university technology fee. And so we drafted a proposal for those trainers. And we also included into that proposal a license for atomic learning. Our training manager had the opportunity to see and work with the tool in another university. And by the time we launched atomic learning, we actually had lost one of our trainers, and we did not fill the position. So we launched with our face-to-face training with one person overseeing all of that. And so atomic learning became even more critical to us in order to meet our student needs. And what we started doing in addition to is FIU has what we call a week of welcome every fall semester, and that's where we welcome new freshmen and returning students to the campus, and we try to be on hand during the week of welcome with this big 65-inch monitor that you see pictured here to let students know about all of the resources available, including atomic learning. And this helps us get the word out to both our faculty and our students. So let's get some early numbers that we had. When we started, it took us about 6 months to hire and to get our licensing due to university processes. And so for the first year of implementation, 6 months were spent in planning, and 6 months we actually have data on what we were able to offer. So from January 2011 to June of that academic year, we were launching both our face-to-face workshops and our atomic learning sessions, and we had 341 students attending face-to-face workshops. And then this past academic year, we had the full year in which we saw 1,442 students attending our workshops. This again, remember, was one trainer, so this trainer would provide workshops at our NMC campus and then also travel to our Biscayne Bay campus to meet with these students. So now atomic learning, those numbers are very exciting. During our 2011 academic year, we had 21,301 views of the various tutorials that are available on atomic learning. And they viewed 5,153 tutorials, and this is this past year. I didn't pull the 6-month data, and so that was really exciting. In addition to students having access to Atomic Learning 24/7 for whatever software training they may need, we in the past have provided a face-to-face workshop in Excel, a custom workshop for our College of Business Masters of Finance program. The professor of this class wanted to make sure that all the students had the same understanding of Excel early in the semester before they moved forward. And we used to give this workshop face-to-face on Saturdays, and we made it available now fully online, and it's one of our custom workshops in our Atomic Learning site. We continue to make faculty aware of the resources that are available in Atomic Learning, and we continue to market these resources, and that's our biggest challenge, just how do we get information out to everyone. I'd like to show you our site now. This is the Division of IT's website, and when we had several tech fees approved, we made available the various e-resources, e-services and resources. Quick links shows you some of those available, and the e-services provides a lot of services that are now available through various tech fees, and training is one of those services. And so through e-training, we've integrated this with our CAS environment so that students can authenticate, so we can ensure our licensing. And our IT operations team helped us to deploy that. And we just had a session last night actually on the flipped classroom with our Center for the Advancement of Teaching, which is a pedagogical center for faculty and graduate teaching assistants. And that Excel workshop enables the faculty member to not have to spend time on their limited Saturday session availability going over Excel. Students can now get that information here in the custom training and do it before they come to class. And this saves a lot of time in the classroom. They manage this site and work together with their students. But this is, so if you've been into Atomic Learning, it looks like any other Atomic Learning site that you've seen, except we're having our students and faculty use their FIU credentials to be able to get in. And of course, there's a session on how to navigate the Atomic Learning site, which I think is helpful if anyone needs any support in that area. And that's really what we've done. It's been 2 years since our proposal was approved, and we've been in the business, if you will, of student workshops. 1.5 years of actually giving the workshops, and again, 6 months of planning. And now I'm going to hand it over to Deb.
Great, thank you so much. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Thank you, Debra, for doing that. My name is also Debra. I am Deb Meester from Atomic Learning. I appreciate you joining this webinar here today, and I appreciate Debra from FIU sharing their story. As Debra mentioned, FIU and Atomic Learning have been partners now for, we're almost 3 years, about 2.5 years right now, and as Debra mentioned, their usage of Atomic Learning on campus there in Miami and throughout their campuses has grown substantially, and we were actually just down on campus there a couple weeks ago for their tech fair and really enjoyed that, so thank you. As Debra mentioned, Atomic Learning provides online resources to help not only faculty and staff, but also students learn how to better utilize technology in their educational roles. Debra mentioned that some of their uses of the resource, there really are a wide array of ways in which this resource is used on many college and university campuses here nationwide. Just to give you some examples of how this is used and give you some examples of some of the resources that are available. Atomic Learning, when we started about 12 years ago, we decided to provide tutorials which are more kind of the how-to resources on various different applications and devices. You'll see here there's about over 200 different applications that we do provide online courses on. So everything from the Microsoft, Adobe, Google applications to learning management systems like Blackboard, Moodle, Desire to Learn, Sakai, and coming soon Canvas. You'll also see different devices such as iPads, iPods, even Texas Instrument calculators and so forth. So there's really a wide array of areas that we do provide online courses around. But then we realized throughout the year that it isn't enough to provide resources on how to use technology, that you also need resources on really how to apply the technology. And because we were founded by educators, all of these resources are geared around the educational use of technology. So we moved and we expanded beyond these tutorials, and we brought together what's called our workshops. These are just further online courses that are more conceptually based. You'll see here there's courses that are geared towards students with things like APA and MLA style writing, and coming soon in a couple weeks you'll see Chicago style as well. For instructors, we have some great ones around effective online discussions, using resources like YouTube in their courses. Facilitating an online course in an LMS is actually a great online course that teaches you how to pull multimedia resources into your course as well. So you'll see really hits on topics that all your individuals at your institution, whether faculty, staff, or students, might have a use for. One that I'm going to pull up just to show you here quickly is called Effective Presentation Design. This doesn't teach you how to use Prezi or PowerPoint or any of those other presentation tools. We already cover those in the tutorial section. Instead, what this provides is tips and tricks on how to give an effective presentation. I think many of us have sat through many a PowerPoint where people are simply reading bullet point after bullet point. So this is going to teach you some information or give you some tips and tricks on ways to avoid having too much text or too many visual references within your presentation. Now, a couple things that are unique to Atomic Learning. First of all, Atomic Learning is 508 compliant. What this means is that you don't have to fear when you bring this type of resource onto your campus. It is accessible to all your faculty, staff, and students. We believe strongly in that, and as you'll see here in a minute, we do also provide training to help you ensure that your other resources are also digitally accessible for your faculty, staff, and students. We have, though, realized in the past that no matter how good this content is that we provide, no matter what topics we cover, if the resources aren't readily available or readily accessible to your faculty, staff, and students, they're not going to use it. And so what we've done is we've put together a number of tools to help bring these resources to your faculty, staff, and students, rather than them having to go out and search for them. One of the tools that we currently have is called our direct linking. If I click on this tool here, you see it pulls up the current series that I'm in. At this point, I can pick and choose and say I want my individual users to view these particular movies. And once I've selected which movies I want them to view, I preview that direct link, and now I have some hyperlinks that I can cut and copy, and I can paste these within my LMS course page. I can paste them within a blog, a wiki, an email, a digital syllabi, a knowledge base, and so forth. There's a wide array of uses for this particular tool. We've heard from instructors, this is a great way for me to take the technology teaching out of my classroom. We've heard from help desks that this is a great way for me to proactively and reactively answer frequently asked questions. We've heard from other institutions that use this in a knowledge base. We've heard from institutions that will send out tech newsletters, and they'll send out, if you need help setting up your calendar and Outlook, here's the resources to view. So again, it kind of proactively redirects those calls from coming into their help desk. Now I see someone had a question about what the links are. These are simply, I'm not sure if I understand the question, but these are simply hyperlinks that are created. If you want to see the code, the coding is here, but you don't need to use the code. If you're just pulling this into like a Blackboard or a Moodle, you can simply cut and copy these hyperlinks, and they will pull over those tutorials then into your course page. So that is one of the tools we currently have that allows you to bring the resources into your existing platforms. Again, whether it's a blog, wiki, course page, anything, an email. We also are just in the final stages of producing another tool that will help bring these resources into your existing platform. And I know I showed this tool to Debra when I was down at FIU's campus a couple weeks ago. For those of you that are on the phone that are currently using Blackboard as your LMS, we do have a brand new Blackboard building block. That building block will be available in about 1 week. We're starting implementation with some current customers next week. And that building block is very exciting. For those of you that are familiar with building blocks, Atomic Learning will now be a mashup within Blackboard. And it also will include the ability to tie the training back to the Grade Center, plus provide a single sign-on option to Atomic Learning's resources right through Blackboard. Really, just the main tools of this Blackboard building block is that it provides a single sign-on to Atomic Learning's resources through Blackboard. So when you are logged into Atomic Learning can now appear as a module or a tool, allowing for single sign-on. Atomic Learning will pop up within your Blackboard shell, not outside of Blackboard, so they don't have to leave the setting that they're already familiar with. And again, like I said, it'll be a mashup, so your instructors can easily pull the content into their courses, into discussion boards, and into quizzes as well. And for those of your instructors that maybe want to tie this back to their Grade Center, maybe they're teaching a course that requires knowledge of Microsoft Word, they can pull some of the Microsoft Word tutorials into their assignments and provide extra credit or credit for viewing those tutorials on Atomic Learning. So it's a very exciting tool. I'm sorry I wasn't able to show it to you, but it is something that will really help make this type of resource, this online resource, even more readily accessible to your faculty, staff, and students. As I mentioned, one more item that might be of interest. For those of you that are concerned in making your campus digitally accessible for all faculty, staff, and students, we do provide resources. Not only is our site itself 508 compliant, but we do provide resources to help ensure that the other resources you're providing on campus are accessible as well. We have workshops around ensuring that your campus is a digitally accessible campus, and projects around topics like a digitally accessible syllabus, digitally accessible spreadsheets, presentations, and more. So really a wide array of topics that are covered. We've got some exciting things in the pipeline as well, with some programming language training and some certification prep courses as well. So we're really trying to focus on the needs that we hear from the entire campus population, everyone from the non-traditional student to the traditional student to full-time instructors, adjunct instructors, and more. We really try and meet the needs of everyone on each of the campuses we work with. So I thank you for joining us here today. I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns that anyone may have at this point.
We have a few people typing. How does the 508 work with the Atomic Learning site?
As far as how does it work? Well, first of all, information on how our site is compliant can be found at the below. If you click on here where it says 508 compliance, that will actually give you access to what's called our VPAT, which will provide you with information on how our site is compliant. As far as how you can, and here's a copy of our VPAT for your information. It's accessible even pre-login for those individuals that don't currently have access to Atomic Learning. Someone else had a question around what screen capture system we use. It really varies depending upon who is doing the development creation. The majority of our tutorials are created on site here. We do have a strong development team on staff. However, there are some tutorials that we do contract out with. So it really varies on what type of screen capture system is used. I know we've used Camtasia, Captivate. There's a few others that have been used as well. as far as what your users need to view Atomic Learning, they simply need a Flash or QuickTime. And what's really nice is currently I'm on a PC right now, and my default settings are to view the movies using Flash. However, I do also have an iPad as well. When I'm traveling, if I log on to Atomic Learning using my iPad, it automatically recognizes that I'm on a device that is not Flash compatible, and will switch for me without me having to make any changes over to a QuickTime setting for that login time only. So it does recognize if you're on that device that is not Flash compatible, and will switch over to QuickTime for you.
Looks like we have a question.
Were there other questions?
Yeah, I see a question from Donna. Direct linking options. What level of Atomic Learning do you need to have this?
Sure. Well, we have a number of different level options. I'm not sure what she's referring to. Obviously, the direct linking, it works with any of our licensing options as far as if you choose our Technology Skills Plus, anything like that. Your users do need to be authenticated to open up those links. So if you have an individual account and you try and send a direct link via email to a non-licensed Atomic Learning user, they will not be able to open those. What's really nice is we do have a number of different single sign-on options. As Debra mentioned, she uses CAS. We have other schools that use Shibboleth, ADFS. We have the same sign-on option through LDAP. We'll have a number of schools that are now coming on with the building block, which uses LTI. And what's really nice is we've got some coding built in those that recognize your single sign-on option. So if you do send a link to someone who isn't already authenticated, it will recognize their authentication method and redirect them to their school site for logging in. So. But the direct linking is available with any of our license options. You just can't open up the movies if you're not a licensed user.
I did have a question from a participant. What assessment options are included?
What assessment options are included? Well, we do have a couple of assessment options. First of all, there's what's called our self-assessment, which is a tool where someone can go in and assess their own skills. And then based upon how they feel their own skills are, it will prescribe some training for them. We do also have a new tool that we are piloting right now, which is called our practice and quiz sets. And if I go, it's a brand new resource that we're currently piloting. So right now it appears with all the Office 2010 series. And what we've heard in the past is some schools say, I really like your movies. I think we've learned a lot. But we would like some more of an interactive piece to the online courses. So we added what's called a practice and quiz set. And again, we're piloting this right now with Office 2010. If all goes well, we will look at adding these to other courses as well. But the practice and quiz set includes a practice task for them to try to prove what they just learned. It then has a question to prove that they learned what they did throughout watching the movies, and then it has a link back to retain what they learned. So right now we do have these practice and quiz sets. They are a PDF. Anyone with instructor or admin rights would have access to the answer guides. Students don't have access to the answer guides, but those with administrative rights would. We have a number of schools that add this into their course LMS, or excuse me, their quiz section of their LMS. These practice and quiz sets as well. These are available with the Office 2010 series right now, all Word, Excel, Access, and so forth. So these are PowerPoint.
I also see there was a question about sample trainings available on Atomic Learning. Are there any out there?
Well, if anyone is interested after today, we're more than happy to work with them and setting up some trial accounts. And also, a few things I didn't show because I want to make sure we're respecting everyone's time here today is some of our administrative tools. Because what's unique to Atomic Learning is we have a really robust reporting system that allows you to pull reports from almost every different angle you can think of. You can pull reports by individual, by departments, by the entire campus. You can pull reports by types of training. You can pull reports to see progress of individuals and user groups and so forth. So we really have a wide array of reporting options available as well. So if people want to get a good look at those, we're more than happy to share some information and provide some information on that. If they're simply wanting to get a look at some of the tutorials that are available, play some of those tutorials, someone from our team is more than happy to set up trial accounts or do a short web demonstration with them. So.
I do see a question from Ben for Debra from FIU. What sort of classes do your trainers conduct now that you have online training available?
Great question, Ben. We actually still conduct the same workshops for faculty and staff in a face-to-face format. With each training session, we do let the attendees know that Atomic Learning is available to them because they can come to training and do very well in the class and then get back to their office and forget what they needed to do. So we do let them know that it's available. In addition, we do have face-to-face student workshops. So we're a Microsoft campus, Microsoft Office campus. We do the full Microsoft Office suite, Word, Excel, etc. We're also using Outlook as our email client. And then for students, we also include Photoshop and Dreamweaver because these are tools that we find our students here on campus often need to use for presentation and developing content for their classes. So we cover those
I
as
do
well.
see a question for Atomic Learning for Deb. How do you find out about your customers' needs for different software? In addition to reaching out to faculty and students, what other marketing approaches did you take to promote your online training?
As far as how Atomic Learning finds out what kind of courses to provide, we have a number of different ways we do this. First of all, in conversations with our current partners like FIU, they may mention to us. I remember when FIU was first looking at coming on board with Atomic Learning, they mentioned that SharePoint was of particular interest to them, and so we worked with our team in developing this. Mind you, was almost 3 years ago. So we worked with our team on bringing that on board as well. We also do some market research. We do run surveys with our current partners once a year to see what they like, what they don't like, and so forth. And then we also on our site have what's a request area here. So if you want to make some suggestions or recommendations for type of content that you'd like to see, we welcome that. As far as we have regular scheduled training that we currently provide, we always stay up to date on the Microsoft, the Adobe applications. We have partnerships with certain LMS companies, and so we do stay up to date and current on those. As far as what training to provide outside of that realm, it's really based upon recommendations from our current partners and those schools that are looking at coming on board with Atomic Learning. So we welcome any feedback that you may have to provide for us on, we would like to see these types of courses or these types of topics covered. But I'll let Debra take it from her end too.
In order to find out what our students and our faculty need, we do annual surveys and ask for their input. And then we're often working and meeting with faculty, so we take their input during those sessions as well. And in terms of marketing, that is the biggest challenge on campus, and we have a lot of venues that we try to take advantage of. A lot of our schools and our student unions have digital signage, so we create flyers that can be posted on our digital signs. We do poster stanchions, which we place in high traffic flow areas, the library, the student union, where people will pass by and we can share with them e-training. When we launched our campaign, we had a big poster presentation available around the campuses. We did note cards and sent those out to the various departments and programs so that the faculty could know. And then we put the Atomic Learning button. We were a Moodle campus and we're currently moving to Blackboard. So in our Moodle environment, we do have the Atomic Learning button there on the home page within Moodle once the student logs in. And as soon as the Blackboard building block is done, we're very anxious to get that into Blackboard as well. And so it'll be sitting on the desktop once you log into Blackboard. And we currently don't have all of our courses in our LMS. It's on a per request basis, but we're moving to an academic continuity model. As you know, we're here in South Florida. We actually have a tropical storm out on the coast hitting Jamaica right now. And so we need to be very cognizant of if the university had to be closed for a period of time and how do we reach our students. So we're going to be using our learning management system as our academic continuity. So then every student will be in the LMS and will have these resources available to them. So we're very excited about those plans as well.
Excellent. And just for those of you on the webinar here today too, often something that we hear from our current partners and people looking at coming on board is the fear of having to promote this type of resource to a large campus or a small campus or any size campus, just hitting a large array of different individuals from faculty, staff, and students. How do we go about doing that? And I just want to let you know that that is not a task that you have to take on yourselves. We do work very closely with our partners in helping to promote this resource on campus. What you'll see on the screen here is our Get the Word Out material. We have templates for letters and emails, postcards. We have implementation posters that are customizable. We have examples of syllabus and faculty signature lines. These are not things we made up. These are things that our current partners use. We have some desktop backgrounds, some shortcuts. We have example Facebook posts and Twitter tweets that other schools have used. We have scavenger hunts. We also have an excellent resource. Her name is Julie Rayhorn. She is a former educator herself. She works very closely with our partners in providing web demonstrations and so forth to help your different user groups, whether it be your help desk, your library, your tutoring and writing center, your technology training department, faculty on a lunch and learn session and so forth. She works very closely with them to help them learn how to best utilize this resource within their role there at your campus. So we don't just bring a campus on board with us and say, good luck, go run this by yourself. We really think of this as a partnership and work with you to make sure that this is successful at your
Anyone else have any
campus.
questions before we start to wrap up today?
Sorry.
Or any comments?
Debra here. I was just going to add that Deb and I actually spoke at our Tech Day, and when we hold our Tech Day next year, we are going to deploy the scavenger hunt concept to get students aware, because as you know, when we started, we had 46,000 students. We're now at 50. So we're always having to get the word out and let people know what is
That's
available
terrific.
to them. So the
Yeah,
scavenger
and
hunt
you're going to
is a really
deploy that
fun
when?
way to get students engaged on campus. We have a Tech Day every year. We just had one this past year. And so when we do our Tech Day again, we also have a freshman experience, it's a first year experience course. And we work closely with the faculty member who coordinates that. And we can also recommend that to the
Well, I
faculty
really want to
members as
thank
well.
our speakers today from Atomic Learning and FIU on behalf of the NMC for taking time to present on atomic learning and the benefits of using this online platform that's really a powerful tool for learning engagement. And I will say, participants, if you do want more information on anything that you saw or heard today, just let us know by dropping your email address in the chat window, or just contact us directly, or contact Debra at Atomic Learning. You can also access this slideshow on our SlideShare account, as well as we will have the webinar archive on the NMC site soon. So we want to thank everybody for joining us, and we hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining us during lunch.